This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase. But did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2017 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk. Up front is a 2.4 liter inline 4 and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. This video is sponsored by CarMarshal.com. If you'd like to support the channel, click the link down in the description below. CarMarshal.com advertises for over 100,000 vehicles across the US. But let's get back to that 2.4 liter inline 4. Well, it is naturally aspirated, although there was a 1.4 liter turbocharged engine offered. And if you don't know, Fiat recently acquired Jeep. Well, I say recently, it was a couple years ago at this point. But this actually sits on a Fiat 500X platform, so their bigger four-door that Fiat offers has the same platform. But besides that, it doesn't share a whole lot with the Fiat 500X. Unless you were to get that smaller 1.4 liter turbo engine. But it makes okay amount of horsepower, it gets okay gas mileage. I'll put the horsepower and torque up on the screen now. And now I will show the MPG. That's the MPG if you are interested. You're not going to win any straight line speed contests or anything. It's not a very fast or quick vehicle, but of course that's not really the point of it. So I'm not really seeing any kind of sport button or anything, so we're just gonna put our foot into it. I mean, it works. It's not fast, it's not even quick, it's not even zippy. It's quite dreadful in the acceleration test, but do we really care? It's a Jeep. Do we really care, guys? Not really. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really too crazy. I haven't really noticed any weird shifts or any weird noises coming from the transmission or anything like that. And so I can't really complain about it too much. There was a manual offered, but of course this is not it. And last but not least, this is 4-wheel drive. Luckily, you could get a front-wheel drive version, but luckily this is the 4-wheel drive version. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but it is a tried and true Jeep in that sort of fashion. But let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have two physical gauges. On the left is my tachometer and on the right is my speedometer. What's interesting about the tachometer is that it does redline at about 6,700 RPM, but there's like a splash of mud where you shouldn't go. Shouldn't rev your engine that high, and there's a splash of mud kind of signifying that, which is kind of interesting. Never seen that on a car. Speedometer is fine, you know, but then in the center I do get a screen. So right now I'm actually looking at coolant temperature in exact digits. I really like that. I have my current MPG, my trip, my audio settings, messages, settings, and then I can look at my speed in digits. This is very, very helpful. And then we're back to coolant temperature. I can also look at trans temperature, oil temperature, battery voltage, tire pressure, and we're back to coolant. That's really nice. Trans temp, things like that, you know, towing, off-road driving. That's a big deal to know those things and to have actual digits instead of just a bar. I really, really like that. On the steering wheel, on the left I have my selector dials for that center screen, my phone options, and on the right I have my cruise control settings. And on the back I do have my skip, track, and volume options. Can't really get a good video of it because it's around the back of the steering wheel. You're just gonna have to take my word for that. To the left I do have my headlights and dimmer switches, and then on the door I have my windows, lock and unlock, and power mirrors. In the center, I do get two vents on top of the dash. I like that a lot. Then we get a tiny little infotainment screen. Now, this is now 3 years old. It's a 3-year-old infotainment screen, but it is still very, very small by any standards. And of course, Jeep puts at the top since 1941, because that's when Jeep was founded, but sort of not really. Jeep has been owned by a couple different manufacturers throughout history, so to say it's from 1941, I mean, technically Jeeps have been around since then, but it's a little bit of a stretch. But getting back to the infotainment screen, I can plug in my phone, aux, USB, things like that. I can turn on just a compass, which fills the entire screen with a compass, which, albeit is not a very big screen, but you can get a compass. I can look at my apps, outside temperature, clock. You know, I could set a couple different things. And the background is this sort of cracked dirt look, which is fine. I really don't like this screen. It's a little bit too small. Down below that, I have heated seats and my heated steering wheel. And then I have my climate control options. Very, very basic here. I mean, nothing really too crazy. We don't get dual zone climate, but we have the basics, and that's all you really need. Then down below that, we do have some interesting things. We'll go right to left because they kind of get cooler. On the far right, we do have a 12-volt outlet, but what I like about this, what Chrysler has always been good about doing, is they put on their vehicles if the outlet is run off the key or off the battery. And so this has a key on it, so this will only charge your phone if the key is on. If the vehicle is on, it'll charge it. When the car is off, it won't do anything. The other option is that it'll show a battery. Some Chrysler products will have a little battery icon. That means whether the car is on or off, no matter what, power will be sent to that charger. And I like that distinction, and I'm surprised that other manufacturers haven't caught on and done this. They've been doing this since at least 2004 to my knowledge. Then we have our aux and USB in. Then we have our four-wheel drive settings. So I'll pull up here. We can keep it in auto, snow, sand, mud, or four-wheel drive lock. So we'll leave it in auto just because obviously we don't need it. But I like that little graphic of the Renegade comes up with the different conditions on it. I like that little touch. And it's, you know, to tell you that they didn't just pull that from the parts bin. They actually had a guy go in and draw or, you know, make a Renegade graphic. I like that a lot. There's a little bit more attention to detail. On the four-wheel drive dial, we also do have hill descent control. So that is a very nice feature. And for a vehicle that you will, you know, sort of more off-road with, that is definitely nice to have. Then we have the shifter. The shifter's fine. It's kind of tall because the center console's low. And it is surrounded by this red plastic. The vents are surrounded by red plastic. The speakers are surrounded by red plastic that have the sort of Jeep grille, which doesn't really apply to this Jeep, but it has the typical Jeep grille embossed in it. I like it, however, this is yellow. This is a yellow Jeep, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yellow with the red accents, to me, has always just looked kind of tacky and cheap, and so I would spec a different color for my Renegade if these red accents have to stay. Below the shifter, we do have our power parking brake and traction control off button. Now, the seats are decently comfortable. They do feel a little bit cheap, but they do say Trailhawk on them, and they're not the worst things in the world. I like the center pattern. It's sort of like a map. You know, this whole car is sort of a go off-road, do anything sort of vibe, and the seats definitely match that. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2017 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk, and these seats are hard. These are very hard seats. I would not want to sit back here for more than an hour or two or on a long trip. I think these would get real tiresome. Down below, I actually do have a wall outlet, which is very, very nice. I can plug in anything I want to that here in America. It's the standard American wall outlet. I absolutely love that. I do have speakers back here. They also have the Jeep logo on them. Other than that, no center console. It's not a great back seat. This is really where you're going to see a lot of cost cut, a lot of cheapness, a lot of uncomfortability. It is a smaller SUV, so pretty much every small SUV has a bad back seat. And I'm not saying that this is the worst. I'm definitely saying this is not the best. So take it as you will. You can take up to 5 people in this vehicle, but not at any great comfort. Now we have to talk about the looks. Like I said, it is yellow, but I don't mind the look of it. The Trailhawk package is sort of an appearance package. We get red tow hooks and different wheels and a little bit nicer accents. On all Renegades, the rear taillights are made to sort of mimic jerry cans, which are like, you know, cans for fuel. I like that a lot. I think the car looks nice. And actually, we'll get back to the interior for a second. It feels a lot larger than it is. You see a Renegade and you're like, oh, it's a cute little Jeep. But on the inside, it really doesn't feel small. This feels like a Wrangler, honestly, or a little bit older of the Wrangler. The Wrangler has gotten a little bit bigger. You know, the JL and the JKs were a little bit bigger than like the TJs and YJs and stuff like that. But it does feel pretty large in here for a small car. I like the outside. It looks small, but it's bigger on the inside. And I just like that overall. But getting back to the looks, I do think that this looks pretty nice. And we do get the Trail Rated badge, which is a award made by Jeep, given to Jeep, only for Jeeps. So if you see a Trail Rated badge on a car, it doesn't mean much. I mean, online it says that the Renegade Trailhawk gets the trail-rated drivetrain. Well, it doesn't really mean much. And before I give my final thoughts, the real true reason, I swear on the hood of my RX-7, the real reason I wanted to review this Renegade, well, there's two reasons. First of all, smaller one, never done one before, always been interested. But second of all, the VIN number of this Renegade starts with ZACC. It's essentially my name. So, a little fun fact for you, Jeep Renegade VIN numbers start with ZACC, Zach. So just something fun. But my overall thoughts on this is, well, it sort of drives like a Jeep Wrangler. It has a harsh ride. It's definitely designed to go off-road. It's designed, you know, to go down trails and to be sort of the king of the trail, if you will. And actually, we do have a rock patch. I rarely ever use it here on the test track for reviews, but we do have rocks. So we'll stop here. We'll actually sort of utilize one of these drive modes. We'll probably have it for, I guess, mud. And actually, now driving over these rocks, you kind of get a better feel for what this car was designed for. It's handling this no problem, and actually, it's handling it a lot better than other vehicles I've taken down here. Yes, of course, it's bumpy, but it's a very jagged road. I mean, I can still have a pretty normal conversation. When I did that in a Mazda CX-5, a conversation was not able to be had. So, my closing thoughts are, it's a Jeep. This is the four-wheel drive version. If you get the two-wheel drive version, I don't know if that's a Jeep. But this is a tried and true Jeep. It has the four-wheel drive lock. No, it's not manual, but whatever. This is a still very, very capable vehicle. And I would say it's the most capable in its class. This is more of a smaller end SUV, and I'm thinking of other smaller end SUVs. Mazda CX-3, no way it's doing that. Honda HR-V, not a chance. Toyota CHR, no way. You know, all of those vehicles that I've driven, they can't really touch it in terms of off-road ability. And I'm really, really impressed with the interior size. It really feels like a legitimately decent vehicle in here, size-wise. Up front here, it feels good. Like, I'm comfortable in here, and it feels larger than it is. And so, while I kind of came into this review kind of not wanting to like the Renegade because it's a little Jeep that's not a Wrangler, that, you know, who cares? It's not a Wrangler, no one cares. I ended up kind of liking it and for sure respecting it. It has good off-road capabilities. Yeah, the ride is rough, but that's made up for the fact that it can do things that other compact SUVs, other small little SUVs can't do. And so if you are looking for a little SUV, this is a great option if you go up north often, if you go down, you know, rocky, muddy roads often. You know, your CX-3 might get stuck, but this, I would have a high inclination that this would not get stuck. Just please don't get it in yellow. This is just, I think the yellow's a little bit too much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their Jeep Renegade. It's really interesting. I'm glad that I finally got to experience a Renegade fully and figure out just kind of what it is and what it's like. And I actually ended up kind of liking it. And so thank you to Toyota Naperville. This is one of their used vehicles on their lot. Check out their website. I will leave it up on the screen as well as in the description below. They have tons and tons of obviously brand new Toyotas. They just got a Supra in the showroom and things like that. But they also have tons and tons of used cars, other Jeeps, other SUVs, anything you might want. They definitely have something that'll fit your needs on the lot. So if you're looking for a new car, even if you're not looking for a Jeep Renegade, I'd highly recommend checking out their website and just go through their inventory. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really like to. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.